Hello and welcome to my channel to plan for. My name is Marguerite, and on this channel I talk about analog planning, journaling, and all the tools that can make writing more enjoyable, especially fountain pens and inks. Today I want to show you an ink that I picked up on my recent Korea vacation, and it is called Brane by Colorverse, and the little G at the end means it's a glistening ink, which is the Colorverse term for sparkling, shimmer, whatever you want to call it. I guess different companies have different words for it. So I will first swatch this ink, then we will look at its different properties, and then the most important part of this video, we will have a look at multiple writing samples. So I will show you writing samples with my standard set of testing fountain pens on at least 3 different paper types, and then I have a few bonus writing samples for you. Okay, let's get started with the ink. So I only got this tiny little 5 ml bottle, and well, first of all, I have inked up my pens for the writing samples, but I also have my Pelican, which is part of my currently inked, filled with this ink. So there is not too much left, but still it's surprising how far you can get with 5 ml. I am swatching this ink on my Wearing Goal swatch book, and at the same time I have here my Tomoe River 68 GSM paper, where we will also do some more writing samples. The ink, as I mentioned, is by Colorverse, which is a Korean ink brand. So when I was on my Korea vacation, I tried to focus on Korean ink brands. I mean, not that I wouldn't get this ink here in France or in Europe as well, but still it feels nice to get inks that are specific to a country. And do the labeling here as well. So as we already see here on the swatch, it's definitely an ink that shades. More of that we will see when we come to the writing samples. And I already mentioned it's a shimmer ink. I have, well, I guess that's called a sample. 5 ml of it. And then we will see later on how water resistant this ink is. For the shimmer, you can see it here at the bottom. It has this, does it focus? It has this kind of bluish, blue-green shimmer. And we will see it better once the swatches are dry. In the meanwhile, I will make a few writing samples here on this Tomoe River paper with my 3 pens I already mentioned, and then we will check how water resistant this ink is.
Now we have our 3 writing samples, one with the Pilot Kakuno with the fine nib, the second one with the TWSBI Eco with the medium nib, and the Lamy Safari with a broad nib. And you can also already see here what a variety in color there is, depending on how much ink is put down. And I really, really do enjoy that. Before we do the water resistance test, I just wanted to show you. I hope the camera catches it. You see here the blue shimmer. It's a very subtle shimmer, which I do enjoy, so it's not so overpowering. Oops. Here it's also, at least in person, quite visible. Now, let's see how water resistant this ink is. And for that, I'm gonna put a couple drops of water here. And see what remains afterwards. Okay, let's see. I mean, it's certainly not a water resistant ink, but it is not doing too badly. So I think for the most part, you would be able to recover what you wrote, but it certainly wouldn't be easy. So I would give it 1.5 regarding water resistance. Okay, now I would like to show you a whole bunch of different writing samples. And I think in the writing samples, we can again see this wonderful olive green color with the blue shimmer. It looks really amazing in writing as well. I do have my standard set of notebooks, an Archer and Olive notebook, a Rhodia notebook, and a Tomoe River notebook. And let's have a look how the ink looks on those different papers. So I think what we can see here quite well is what a nice shader this ink can be, especially like in this Lamy Safari nib. It shades really nicely, and I just love this rich dark color, and it's still very legible, even though it shades quite a bit. So we have here up the Lamy Safari in a broad nib, TWSBI Eco in a medium nib, and Pilot Kakuno in a fine nib. Next, we have my Rhodia notebook. This has obviously not white paper, but cream paper. And again, here is the Lamy Safari with the broad nib. Here it doesn't shade as well as on the Archer and Olive paper. Then we have the TWSBI Eco and the Pilot Kakuno with the fine nib. We got a Goodinkpressions notebook, which has Tomoe River paper, 52 GSM, the white one. Again, we start out here with the Lamy Safari with the broad nib, then the TWSBI Eco with the medium nib, and Pilot Kakuno with the fine nib. And on this paper, for me, the Lamy Safari was almost a bit too wet. On this one, I did like the TWSBI Eco better, but I think on all other papers, my favorite one was the Lamy Safari. But in general, this is a very smooth and wet ink, which performs very nicely. And I always have to say, when it comes to shimmer inks, I never agitate my pens to get the shimmer really dispersed in the ink. That's just not what I do, because I want to simulate kind of a realistic writing sample here. And whenever I do my regular journaling, I would never, like, every line turn the pen. That's just not what I'm gonna do. But this causes the effect that whenever I start writing with the pen, the shimmer is way more dominant. We can see this here in the first 2 lines, and then it becomes less. That's not the fault of the ink, but just so that I don't treat my pens differently just because only they have shimmer inks in them. For me, it's important to show this as well, because if a shimmer is too dominant, that it becomes irritating, that it's so uneven throughout the writing, it wouldn't be satisfying for me to write with an ink like that. But here, I think the shimmer is subtle enough, so it's completely fine for me that it's not everywhere equally present. I also have a few bonus writing examples for you, because, as I already mentioned, I have this ink currently inked up in my Pelikan 809, which is part of my currently ink. And here I have a Leuchtturm notebook. And I really also like how this ink flows in that wonderful pen. Again, such a nice shading here. I mean, you can always see how far I wrote in one session. I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but, well, I've wrote those few first paragraphs in one sitting, and then I can see, okay, here again, the shimmer is more dominant. So I guess that was the second part. Because for me, those writing samples, it's like, when I need a short break, I pick up my pen and write a few more paragraphs, kind of like other people take a, I don't know, coffee break or something like that. And I just take a pen break, I guess. So yeah, I have to say, on every single paper I tested this ink, it worked wonderfully well. Of course, nowhere bleeding or feathering, but I use fountain pen friendly paper, so that is something I would assume of a well-behaved ink. Otherwise, I would mention it. Next, we have a Clairefontaine notebook. And if we compare here the ink color, I think I do prefer it better on the Leuchtturm paper. The richer, darker green is nicer than what we have here. But again, let's see, when the shimmer is very dominant, it looks a little bit different. I like this ink with or without shimmer. And my final example, and I want to show this one because here we have even more dominant shimmer lines. You can see here maybe. Yeah, so we have this whole page is written with my Pelikan 809, and as you see here, I don't know why, but a drop of water got on the page. And you see, I mean, it's not completely gone. Obviously, the ink stained the page, the ink dissolved in the water, but the writing underneath is still legible. So, as we said, it's certainly not a water resistant ink, but it's not like everything is lost. And I really enjoy how this ink looks on the Tomoe River paper. I think from all the papers, this is my preferred one. And just for clarification, it's not always the Tomoe River paper where I do like an ink best. But here it really looks nicely, I think. And Yeah. So while I'm talking, I'm ruining more of my writing. Excellent. Where did I get even more water on it? Okay, so those were the writing samples I had to show you. Let's put the notebooks away. And let's have a final look at the ink. The more inks I use by Colorverse, the bigger fan I become of this company. So far, I have tried about 10 of their inks, mostly from the Inkvent. Out of them, let's say roughly 10 inks, 9 were really wet writers. This one is no exception. Great ink, love the ink color shimmer combination. And let's just have one last look. I think here it's very visible how wonderful this shimmer looks. Okay, then thank you very much for spending your time with me. What I would like to know, can you give me some feedback? What other inks you would like to see in an ink exploration? And also, now that I have done almost 10 of those ink explorations, if you could tell me how I could improve them in your opinion, what should I do differently to make them even more valuable for you? Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.